Hey guys, welcome back. We're playing Kansei again, and I just fast forwarded up to this decision. I just basically the start of where things are going, your own way, whatever. So I'm gonna choose just go alone already. We'll see what happens this time.
But what if something happens?
Like what? You're in the super house of technology. If something goes wrong, a robot will probably pop out and save you.
Really?
Probably not.
Oh.
He actually looks disappointed. Come on, let's just get moving. The three of us file into the hallway. It's lined with doors. At the end of the hallway, a glass door leads to a descending staircase. Alright, this is where we split up. Let's start at the end and work our way back. There's a staircase and two doors at the end. Do either of you have a preference?
I'd rather not go down there, if it's okay.
Naoki points at the staircase. No surprise there. It's quiet and out of the way, and I have a sneaking suspicion that Naoki's afraid of being underground. We'll take the door on the right.
Then I'll take the one on the left.
Naoki walks up to the door and places a hand on it. It beeps once and swings open for him. I turn to Lee May. Are you okay with the staircase?
Yes.
She turns and walks down the steps without any hesitation. I turn to my door and touch it gently. A small red light flashes on the door and beeps quietly before swinging open silently. As I enter the room, I nearly walk into Marissa Klein. She looks surprised as if I just caught her poking around where she shouldn't be.
Oh, Kansei. I'm sorry about before. I just assumed you were Liam because you look like you're his age.
It's fine. It's not fine, but there's no point in telling her that.
So what are you doing here?
Not much, just exploring.
No, I meant here, at Mr. Otten's place. You can't possibly be a business associate of his.
I'm here for work.
Work? What kind of work do you do?
I guess I'm a special investigator. Marissa's eyes grows wide as she gazes at me in awe.
Then we're the same! You and I are both people who try to uncover the truth.
She moves close. She moves close and lowers her voice.
So you're here to investigate Liam, aren't you? I knew it was only a matter of time before Mr. Otten got tired of his nephew's lies. Just between you and me, I really think all those rumors about Liam are the least of what he's done.
Funny, back when she thought I was Liam, she said she didn't believe the rumors at all. Looks like she'll say anything to get what she wants. Still, I'm curious to know what exactly this Liam guy has been up to. I guess it's best to play along for now. Why do you say that? Do you have any proof? She frowns.
Well, not yet. But I'm definitely going to find it. That's the real reason I came here, you see. I want to see if this family has any dirty little secrets that I can expose.
She points her finger to her lips and winks.
Once I write a hard-hitting article about all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes here, everyone will see what a great journalist I am. We could work together, you know. I'll even list you as one of my sources. It'll help your career, won't it?
What a two-faced woman. She seems like the sort of person who's used to lying to get her way. I don't like the thought of working with her, but it seems better than getting on her bad side, and it's probably best to keep an eye on her. I guess I should put on a happy face. Sure, it couldn't help but trade notes. Smiling feels weird. Do I look as weird as I feel?
Great! We can cover so much ground if we split up. I bet if we explore right now, we can find something good.
Marissa doesn't seem to notice that my smile is faker than a spray-on suntan. She heads to the door and touches it. It beeps and slides open. As soon as we enter the hallway, we come face to face with Lee May.
Oops! Sorry, darling. Didn't see you there.
Lee May tilts her head to the side and gazes at me curiously. Why don't you go that way and I'll talk to this girl? I point down the hallway and Marissa nods.
Good idea.
She flits off She flits off cheerfully. I didn't realize it was possible to be this annoyed by someone. Li Mei and I stand in silence for a few moments. Finally, she breaks the silence.
She's strange.
She is, although considering our state, I don't know if either of us really has the right to say that. A hint of a smile plays on Li Mei's lips. It's probably the most emotions I've seen out of her so far. Well, did you find anything downstairs? She shakes her head.
Door won't open. No guests allowed.
I guess I shouldn't be too surprised by that. Well, let's go see if Naoki's had any better luck. As we approach the second door, it swings open and Naoki exits.
Oh, hey. Find anything?
Nothing in particular, unless you count an annoyingly nosy reporter. What about you?
Well, no reporter on this side. That room is full of Chinese artifacts. It's like a museum in there.
This whole house feels like a museum. He's got Chinese relics everywhere. I wonder why he's so interested in China.
Well, should we keep exploring the house?
Yeah, let's go. Ugh.
Whoa, are you okay?
I don't feel so good.
What's happening?
What's going on?
I feel my stomach churning. Li Mei looks ill too. Please don't.
Scared. He's scared.
Who? Kansei?
I clutch at my stomach. Everything feels so light. It's Mr. Aten. I race down the hallway, still clutching at my stomach. Mr. Aten. I stumble up the staircase, barely stopping for breath as I head towards Mr. Aten's office. Naoki chases after me, stopping short at the top of the staircase. Something's wrong with Mr. Aten. I rush through the door and pound on it frantically. Mr. Aten! Mr. Aten! Gursky grabs me by the shoulders and pulls me away from the door. Let me in, there's something wrong.
Whoa, kid, calm down.
I feel like I'm about to throw up, but I doubt Detective Gursky would appreciate that. He's not okay. Gursky stares at me for a moment. He looks torn. I can tell he's not exactly ready to trust me yet, but I think he also feels like something is wrong. Finally, he turns to Sophia.
Mr. Rotten has been unusually quiet for a while. Are you sure everything is okay? Is there any way we can force ourselves in?
Sophia doesn't look pleased by his request.
It's certainly unorthodox. I don't think Mr. Alton would be pleased.
I think he'd be even less pleased if he needed medical attention and we didn't get it to him.
Sophia sighs and nods.
Very well. The only way to open the office without express permission is to reset the security system.
And how exactly does one do that?
Someone needs to reboot the system manually. Then someone else has to enter the restart code within 10 seconds of the system being rebooted.
Sounds complicated.
It's meant to provide maximum security for Mr. Alton. I'm the only one here who knows the code, so someone else will have to go to the basement to reset the power.
If you mean down the staircase, I think that door is locked to visitors.
It is, but I can open it from here. Once you head down there, everything will be fine.
Detective Gursky glances over my shoulder.
Alright, Naoki, go reset it.
What? Why me?
Somehow I get the feeling Naoki says that a lot. He doesn't seem very enthusiastic about going down there. Don't worry, I'm sure it'll be okay.
Right.
Naoki doesn't seem too inspired by my words, but he leaves anyways. We stand in awkward silence for a few minutes before the light flickers off. As soon as the light power backs on, Sophia punches in a rapid fire series of numbers into the keypad beside the door. The door swings open, and three of us crowd into the doorway.
Mr. Alton!
Sophia rushes in and grabs the body lying on the ground.
Mr. Alton! Sir!
She shakes him gently, but he doesn't respond. Detective Gursky leans over Mr. Alton's body and puts his 2 fingers on his neck.
He doesn't have a pulse.
No! He was just alive a moment ago!
How you lean over? Wait, you laying over the desk? Sophia pulls Mr. Alton's body away from the desk and tries to roll it over, but she can't support his weight. So she just now pulled it away, so how did he check the pulse?
What are you doing?
There's still a chance I can save him! Please help me!
Gursky points at me.
Kansei, help us move the body.
I step forward and coil my arms around under one of Mr. Auden's arms. With a groan, Detective Grisky and I lift the body and lay Mr. Auden on his back. As I lay Mr. Auden's arms down, my hand brushes against his. Oh no, not now, not. Even as I struggle to maintain consciousness, my mind is flooded with Mr. Auden's final thoughts. I'm hot, but it's not because of my surroundings. I feel like I'm burning up from the inside. I can't breathe and all I can feel is fear. Why didn't I protect her? I never should have let her be with him. I wish I had never met him. No, I wish I could have stopped him. I was so close. No matter what, he mustn't find it. Please, someone, anyone, keep it safe. The folk must be protected at all costs. I open my eyes slowly. I'm kneeling on the ground, but Detective Grisky and Sophia aren't even looking at me. Sophia has her hands on Mr. Auden's chest and her fingers interlocked.
1, 2, 3, 4.
She pumps his chest with her hands, counting out loud as she does. Mr. Auden doesn't move. Again, she pumps his chest, trying to start his heart, but again, nothing. She leans down and grabs his mouth, but Detective Grisky steps in and pulls her away. God damn.
That's enough.
What are you doing? There's still a chance!
She punches him with her free arm, but he doesn't affect him.
Look at him. His skin is pale, his pupils are dilated, and he's covered in sweat. There's a good chance he was poisoned, and you could be poisoned too if you try to resuscitate him.
Sophia makes another desperate attempt to escape from Detective Grisky's grasp, but he's holding her firm.
You did your best, but there's nothing we can do now.
Sophia's knees buckles under her, and she falls to the ground with a choked sob. I thought she was just Mr. Auden's personal assistant, but his death seems to have really shaken her up. Detective Grisky kneels beside her and places a hand gently on her shoulder.
Sophia, everything's going to be okay.
She shakes her head, and when she opens her mouth to speak, all she can do is sob. I back out the room slowly. They really don't need me here right now. In the hallway, Naoki and Lee May are waiting.
Lee May said he's gone.
I nod slowly.
What happened?
I think it was poisoning, but I don't know.
Did you see it?
Yeah, he was scared of someone, I think. I still don't know why. His final wish was to protect the vault.
What's the vault?
No clue.
We should find Aki. She'll know what to do.
She's coming.
Lee May turns towards the staircase just as Aki reaches the top.
Hey, what happened? The lights went out for a moment.
Mr. Auden died.
Died? How?
Poisoning, it seems.
Did you read his last moments?
Yeah, he was regretting meeting someone, said he needed to protect the vault of some sort.
Interesting. I haven't seen any vaults around here, but I assumed that it would be hidden.
Detective Grisky exits the study with Sophia. She appears to have calmed down, but her body still trembles every time she breathes in.
The police are on their way. It's a bit of a drive for them, so we'll have to sit tight until then. I suggest we all wait downstairs. As I don't have any jurisdiction here, it's only a suggestion.
He looks directly at me.
It's the best option if you want to stay unnoticed.
He turns and leads Sophia down the staircase, helping her with one step at a time. Aki frowns as they leave.
Who is the gentleman?
Huh?
Nothing. Anyway, we should probably follow his suggestion and head downstairs. We wouldn't want to get into any more trouble than we already are.
What do you mean by that? Since when were we in trouble?
It's not you.
Aki shoots a glance at him, and the expression on his face makes it obvious she just told him something. I suddenly remember something that was bothering me earlier. You know, Detective Grisky told me that you guys belong to the government. What does that mean?
It means that Miko shouldn't talk so much.
She heads down the stairs before I can ask anything else. Naoki follows meekly, but Lee May stays with me. What's up?
Do you truly want to know?
About you guys? Well, I think I deserve an
But do
explanation.
you want one?
Well, yeah, I guess.
We're on parole for crimes past. Gursky is our parole officer.
What? Lee May nods once, looking satisfied with her second exclamation. She turns and heads down the stairs without another word. Parole. They're all convicts. Wait, even Naoki? Aki, I can understand, but Naoki? And what about Lee Mei? What did she do? I'm really starting to worry about the sort of people I've fallen in with here. Slowly, I descend the staircase, measuring one step after another. Maybe I really shouldn't have asked. When I get to the bottom, Detective Gursky glances at me with mild amusement.
Glad you could make it. Did you take a wrong turn somewhere?
No,
You okay?
I'm fine. I'll look around the room, hoping to change the subject. Where did everyone go?
Miss Millerson wasn't feeling well, so Naoki offered to make some tea for her. They both went to the kitchen. Aki said she had to use the restroom, although I suspect she just wants to look around. And I'm never entirely sure what Lee Mei is doing. The house is in lockdown right now, so it won't let any of us leave until Sophia unlocks it. I guess you can roam around or do whatever you feel like.
Okay. Detective Gursky stands across the room from me, arms folded across his chest. He appears to be in deep thought. It's not long before he notices that I'm looking at him.
What?
Nothing.
Well, that's not true.
Nothing I want to talk about then. He uncroches his arm and sighs.
I don't know where you've been all these years or why, but that look in your eyes is still the same.
What look?
The one that says you're already trying to figure everything out. It's like watching someone who just started work on a puzzle. You're digging through the pieces and looking to build a frame, but you don't have much yet.
That much is true. I don't remember seeing you before though.
I doubt you would. We've never met in person. I sure heard a lot about you, though. Both of you.
I suddenly feel my stomach knot up. How much is a lot?
Not enough, apparently. I thought you were dead. We all did.
Yeah, that was kind of on purpose.
Do you have any idea how much work was put into finding you?
Don't even start. I'm not in the mood to hear a lecture from someone who doesn't know what I'm going through.
You know, back in the day, I couldn't go 10 minutes without hearing your names. Oh, they're so great. What heroes these kids are. Why can't we have such helpful people here? What a joke. When we found her body, the first person they looked for was you, but you were nowhere to be found. At first, they thought you'd been kidnapped. As days passed, they thought maybe you'd been killed. When I saw you yesterday, I thought you had finally come back to do something worthwhile again.
I saw that murder for you, didn't I? What more do you want?
What about your sister's murder? You're the only witness, but you ran away. Why?
It's complicated.
Things are only as complicated as you want them to be.
Aki told me the same thing this morning.
Then maybe you should listen.
I'd rather you don't get involved. This is something I have to deal with on my own.
Sorry, kid. I'm sworn to uphold the law. Even if you don't want me getting involved, I kinda have to.
I know, just. I sigh and let my hands fall to my sides. It's not what you think.
We'll talk about this more later, but I promise that this isn't over. I got a call this morning about my report from yesterday. You've already caused a disturbance with your return.
Oh no, did Schultz find out yet?
Are you kidding? She was the first.
And that's why I didn't want to tell you who I was. I knew they'd all find out I was back.
They'd find you eventually. It was only a matter of time.
If they thought I was dead, why would they be looking for me? Am I in trouble?
Yeah, I'd say so. If it weren't for Aki's insistence that you stay with her, I'm sure they'd already have come to take you back.
This is not good. This is so not good. What am I supposed to do?
Oh, I don't know. Why don't you try actually having a backbone this time around?
Listen, I'm sorry, okay? I was 15 and stupid and I shouldn't have run away. But can we just focus on the dead body we got on our hands right now? I kind of feel like we're letting the past get in the way of the present.
The present only exists because of the past, you know.
Gursky studies my face carefully, gauging my reaction. Finally, he sighs and shakes his head.
But I see your point. Figuring out the cause of death for Mr. Otten does take priority right now. I'll be upstairs. Come talk to me if you find out anything.
As I enter the hallway, I'm nearly run over by a guy as he rushes out from around the corner.
Whoa! Sorry, dude.
He skids to a halt and jumps a few times, holding his hands out in self-defense. Hi? He stops for a moment to look me over.
Never seen you around before. You're not one of Liam's friends, are you?
Not really.
Oh, good. I can't stand Liam's friends. Don't tell him I said that.
Your secret's safe with me, I guess. Who are you?
Kevin, I'm the IT guy. I run all the security here. Got a blip in my system saying the power went out, so I came here to see what happened. Sophia hasn't been answering my calls.
You came here? I thought the house was in lockdown. Kevin taps his temple of his head.
Master code unlocks any door.
Right.
And who are you again?
Kind of guy. I'm a special investigator.
Wicked. So Big Will is finally gonna bring down the hammer on Liam in his little nightlife.
Big Will. Does he mean William Otten? Actually, Mr. Otten just passed away. Kevin stares at me blankly for a moment, but his expression slowly changes as he processes my statement.
Passed away? As in, dead?
I'm not entirely sure if there's another way to interpret that.
Whoa.
Kevin runs his fingers through his hair and laughs nervously.
Sorry, man, this is just... Wow, I can't believe it. It's kinda unreal, you know? I just saw him yesterday and he looked fine. Well, as fine as a guy his age can look. Well, as fine as a super paranoid guy his age can look. Well, as fine as a super paranoid guy who drinks a lot at his age.
Yeah, I get it.
So, what happened?
I'm not sure, probably a heart attack or something.
That's not a surprise. He kept refusing to see a doctor. Man, Sophia would beg him to at least get a checkup, but he'd have none of that.
Don't quote me on that, though. I can't say for sure if it is or isn't.
Really is a shame, though. He was a good man. Did a lot of good work in the medical world.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Otten Engineering was big into making fake organs and stuff. I hear they saved a lot of lives. Man, dead? Really?
He shakes his head.
Sorry, it's just too weird. I'm still having a hard time believing it.
Kevin blinks a few times as if he's not sure he's really awake.
I'll be in the security room if you need me. It's the first door on the left here in this hallway.
Okay. Just go straight here. I try the door, but it doesn't open. I thought Kevin said he'd be in here. I knock on the door and hear the sounds of footsteps. The door slides open.
What's up?
You said you'd be here.
Yeah, I did. What do you want?
I crane my neck to peer over Kevin's shoulder. The room behind him looks mostly empty, but I can see the glow of television screens across the wall. Can I come in? Kevin frowns, but he steps aside to let me in.
Sure, why not? Since Mr. Otten hired you, you'd probably be allowed in here anyway.
It doesn't take long to scan the contents of the cold room. There isn't much on the tile floor save for a single chair. A long counter stretches across one wall. It bears a lonely keyboard and mouse. Mounted on the wall are several monitors, all flickering with images of various rooms across the house. At first glance, it appears to be a room meant for a high-security corporate building rather than just a house.
Welcome to my Fortress of Solitude. This is the command center for the entire house.
So you can see everything from here?
Not everything. Mr. Otten's office is strictly off limits. Very private, you know.
He folds his arm across his chest and scowls.
As if it isn't obvious.
Obvious? What's obvious?
Mr. Otten never likes to be far from his booze. His solution to anything stressful is to drink it away. Of course, he tries to hide it because it's not very professional, but every time he walks out of that room, he reeks of alcohol.
Can you think of any reason that someone would want Mr. Otten dead?
You're kidding, right?
No.
You must be new around here. Mr. Otten's infamous around these parts. He's a ruthless sort of dude. Any little guy tries to start something new, he crushes them. Poaches employees, spreads rumors, heck, he's even brought in the courts multiple times. He'll say that these other companies are infringing on his trademark or something equally stupid. Of course, that's only the stuff we know about. If you ask me, he's got more than just dirty business practices going on. I mean, seriously, look at this place. No one builds a house like this in the middle of nowhere unless he's got something to hide. If he's not doing something illegal, I'll eat my motherboard.
Why do you work for Mr. Auden?
The money. Duh.
But you said he's probably doing illegal stuff. Doesn't that bother you?
Never actually witnessed him do anything illegal, and maintaining his security system is harmless. So even if he goes down, I can't be held responsible for anything.
In other words, you don't really care where the money comes from as long as you don't get in trouble.
Yeah, pretty much. Why, should I?
I'm starting to think that I'm not going to like anyone in this house. If these are the people Mr. Auden surrounds himself with, I can imagine the sort of people he's trying to hide from. How do you get this job?
Mr. Otten offered it to me.
Really?
Well, yeah, he handpicks everyone who works for him.
How did he find you?
I graduated in the top of my class at a university he funds. He offered this job to me straight out of college.
That's pretty lucky.
Yeah, that's the word for it.
Whoa, am I imagining things or is he resentful about something? That's all for now.
Come by if you want to ask me anything else.
Where's it go? I hate this little mouse pointer now. Entrance. Oh, a restroom. Weird. This looks like he built this place with visitors in mind. I wonder what changed. Do I need to start examining anything? Just quickly go over it. Yeah, I don't think it's in there. I have to click in here. Done. Let's go move. Come on. Kitchen. The atmosphere in the kitchen is tense. The sound of my footsteps sounds unusually loud on the tile floor. Hey.
Hey.
Naoki welcomes me with a half-hearted smile. Sophia is standing at the other end of the kitchen, sipping slowly of a cup of tea. Her eyes doesn't waver from the small cup in her hand. I lean in towards Naoki. Is she okay?
I think so.
Sophia's face is still pale, but she looks a lot better than she did when we first found Mr. Auden's body.
Kansei,
Yes?
I hope you don't mind if I ask you something.
No, go ahead.
How did you know that something bad happened to Mr. Auden?
That's...
Naoki, please. I was asking Kansei.
Sorry.
So, how did you know?
Just a lucky guess.
Truly?
Sophia's eyes narrowed. That was definitely not the right answer.
You're
Well,
telling me that out of nowhere you just guessed that something was wrong with Mr. Auden?
yes.
And this guess was so compelling that you pounded on his office door until we finally opened it?
I guess so.
Stop lying to me. Mr. Auden is dead and I know you're involved. Why else would he have been so afraid of you?
Hang on. Kansei didn't do anything. He just happened to be here today. If it weren't for him, you might not even know that Mr. Auden is dead yet.
Sophia glares softens, but she doesn't take her eyes off
Then
me.
where did this lucky guess come from? Surely you don't scream outside everyone's door the moment you guess that something has gone wrong.
If I were the killer, I wouldn't tell you that Mr. Auden died. I'd run
The
away.
criminal always returns to the scene of the crime.
That's a damn lie. I have to smack you for that. Fine, then how did I do it? I never even saw Mr. Auden. Sophia's expression wavers for a moment. She can't exactly think of a good answer.
It was you. It had to have been you.
I press my lips and shakes my head. Nothing I say will matter at this point in time.
Sophia, I'm so sorry about Mr. Auden. But he's the one who called us here, remember?
Naoki tentatively places a hand on Sophia's shoulder. She flinches, but she doesn't move away.
I know it's scary, and I know that it's confusing. But I know you're a smart woman, and you know that what you're accusing him of doesn't make sense. We're here to help. Please, let us help.
Sophia breathes in slowly.
I'm sorry, I'm jumping to the strangest conclusions here. I must not be in a very good frame of mind right now.
Sophia sighs and shuts her eyes. She looks like she wants to cry again. I'm sorry, you really cared about Mr. Auden, didn't you? For a moment, Sophia doesn't answer. Her shoulders shudder as she takes in a deep breath. Finally, she opens her eyes and speaks in barely more than a whisper.
I don't know what I'm going to do now that he's gone.
I'm so sorry.
Naoki places a gentle hand on Sophia's shoulder. I thought Aubrey was there. For a moment, I feel strange. She definitely sounds sincere, but something about what she just said sounds off.
I'm sorry. I just really want to find the person who did this. If there's anything you need to know, just ask, okay?
Yeah, sure, thanks. What do you think about Mr. Auden's death?
What do I think? I think it's terrible. I'm sorry that you had to see him dead.
Well, I mean, who do you think did it?
I really can't say. I don't want to make any judgments.
He glances to the side and begins to absentmindedly fiddle with his fingers. Can you at least tell me your thoughts on everyone here?
Well, Liam is pretty angry with his uncle. His eyebrows went down every time he spoke about him. He covered his face when Aki started asking more questions, so he's got something to hide. I'm pretty sure Marissa's hiding something too. Every time she smiles, her eyebrows go up, as if she's worried. After she finished her interview with Mr. Otten, she was even more nervous than before.
Naoki glances at Sophia before leaning in and whispering.
Sophia was pretty frustrated when we came, but now she's really anxious. She won't stop pacing back and forth.
And what about Kevin?
You mean that guy with the red hair? I didn't really get to see his face. Sorry.
Don't worry about it, I was just curious. Really, it's good enough that you know this much. I'm kind of impressed.
I've been studying body language for a while now.
Okay, thanks.
Feel free to come talk more if you want.
Oh, why do you work for Mr. Auden?
Mr. Otten values my services. I am a trained professional and an excellent personal assistant.
That wasn't really an answer. What I meant was, why did you choose to work for him?
I have personal reasons, but my employment is both legal and morally sound.
Did Mr. Auden have some sort of vote at the bank?
He did not. Mr. Otten didn't trust banking institutions very much. He preferred to play the stock market himself. His belief was that he should be allowed to do as he pleased with his own money. And if he lost it all, then it was his fault. He'd rather lose everything on his own than gain a little interest from a bank playing it safe.
I'll come back later.
Of course.
What's going to happen if I try to bring her the papers? This is the room I was in, so let's go here. Oh no. Well, guess I found where he keeps all his rich people stuff. Li Mei's gazing blankly in the direction of the collection of old plates. I approach, but she barely seems to notice my presence. So, hey. Li Mei blinks slowly and turns to face me. She nods once to acknowledge my presence. I shift my weight from one foot to the next as she stares at me expectantly. What am I even supposed to say? How are you feeling? She stares at me with a mixture of surprise and confusion.
I don't know.
She states it so simply, I almost feel foolish for asking. I guess I was just wondering if you were okay since someone died after all. She tilts her. That was an accident.
Does it... Dad, does it
Goddamn.
bother...
She tilts her head and looks at me curiously.
Does it bother you?
Does what bother me?
Dad,
Yeah, of course it bothers me. I mean, even if I've experienced it before, that doesn't mean that I'm okay with it. Death is a terrible thing, no matter how often you see it. I stare at my hands and rub my fingers slightly together. My palms feel sweaty. What about you? Li Mei stares at me curiously as if she doesn't fully understand my question. I mean, are you bothered by death? She fidgets and examines her open palm the same way I just did. Slowly she rubs together her fingertips as if she's never seen her hands before. Finally she speaks.
he was very scared.
Mr. Auden?
Yes, but even though I felt his fear, I knew that I was not scared. I'm not scared, but I still feel scared.
I sigh and lean against the door frame. You know, I've always wondered what it would feel like to die. Li Mei tilts her head to the side. She looks curious. I mean, I've experienced death, of course, but they're not mine. And somewhere in the back of my mind, every time I do it, I always know it's not mine. I've always wondered, when I die, will I be afraid, or will I think that it's just someone else's death again? Or maybe by the time I die, I'll be so comfortable with it, I won't even care, even though I know it's mine. I turn to face Li Mei. She's watching my face carefully. I don't know. That wasn't really an answer, huh? I laugh and shrug casually. Honestly, I don't even know why I said any of that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there isn't really an answer. You and I both have to carry other people's emotion. It's tiring and sometimes it's confusing. But I think that if we didn't have these abilities, we'd still be sad when other people are sad, or scared when other people are scared. That's just being human. Li Mei smiles and takes my hand in hers.
Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. What is everybody feeling right now?
Naoki is scared.
No, I meant the others, not our friends.
Oh, I apologize.
It's fine, I wasn't very specific. Li Mei takes a deep breath and closes her eyes again. This time it takes her a little longer to sort out her thoughts.
Sophia is sad. She feels as if there is no hope, but there is also relief.
Relief again. I feel uneasy about Sophia. Earlier when I asked if she cared about Mr. Auden, she didn't actually answer me. All she said was, I should probably went to that other girl first, Marissa, and then talk to her. All she said was that she didn't know what she'd do now that he's gone. I don't know why that bugs me so much, but it seems like she was avoiding the question.
Marissa is scared and disappointed. There's so much emotion inside of her. It's all flowing at the same time. She wants to be happy, but she also feels very guilty. Humans are very complicated.
Li Mei nods earnestly as if she's just struck a new idea. I nod in return.
Kevin is uncertain. He does not know what he should be feeling.
He definitely seemed to have trouble believing me when I told him that Mr. Auden died. Denial, I guess.
And Liam? I can't.
What's wrong?
He is with Aki right now. She is manipulating his emotions with her Kansei. I cannot tell what is his and what is not.
Aki. That girl seems to enjoy invading everybody's privacy. It's a wonder that Naoki and Li Mei put up with her. Hopefully whatever she's up to will lead to something useful. What did you do before you lived with Aki and Naoki?
I'm not allowed to speak about that.
Is there anything you are allowed to speak about? Lee May closes her eyes and takes a small breath. Her lips move slowly as if she's pouring over the list of things she's allowed to share. Finally, she opens her eyes and smiles with a self-satisfied look on her face.
I'm authorized to share anything that might aid your investigation.
Whoa, what's with that phrasing? She sounds so formal all of a sudden. What does the calligraphy in the front hallway say?
No dust settles here. It means that this place is quiet and safe from influence of the outside world.
Huh, okay. Do you know much about the artifacts in this place? Lee May nods. Could you maybe tell me about
If
them?
you wish.
Yeah, I do.
Most are safety charms meant to ward off danger.
I turn to the large tapestry on the wall. What about this? What are these animals?
They are the 4 legendary creatures: tortoise, dragon, phoenix, and tiger.
For some reason, this mythology feels familiar, but I'm not sure why. It's not anything I've ever studied. Do they stand for anything in particular?
Many things. Seasons, directions on the compass, sometimes schools of thought. Overall, they represent balance.
It's weird. They feel kind of familiar, especially the tiger.
The tiger and the dragon are mortal enemies.
Lee May reaches out as if to touch the tapestry, but she hesitates and draws her hand
The
back.
dragon represents cunning and intelligence, and the tiger represents raw power and strength. Dragon and tiger, mind and body, they fight each other constantly, but neither can win.
My stomach tightens up as I look at the tapestry hanging on the wall. An endless fight where neither can win. Lee May watches me carefully. She's trying to decipher my emotions, but I don't even fully understand what I'm feeling.
What bothers you?
I'm not sure. It's probably nothing. Lee May doesn't seem satisfied with my response. No surprise there, since I'm not satisfied either. I don't really have anything else to say though, so our conversation defaults into an uncomfortable silence. I'll talk to you later. She nods. I entered the living room again. Not much has changed since my last visit, including the occupant.
Oh, Kansei! Did you find out anything about Mr. Otten or Liam?
Oh yeah, I'm not sure that there's a tactful way to put this. Mr. Auden died.
What? Are you kidding?
No. Marissa stares into my eyes, searching me with a mixture of fear and panic. I sit back until the truth of the incident sinks in. Her expression changes slowly and she realizes that I'm not lying.
Are you sure? What happened?
I'm not sure.
Did he die of natural causes?
Why would you ask that?
William Otten is not a popular man. His business practices are already reprehensible, and there have been rumors of unethical treatment of some of his test subjects. That's why I came. I was hoping I'd be able to uncover something about what he might be doing. I write for a humanitarian blog dedicated to unearthing the hidden cruelties of this world. We've covered everything from torturing prisoners of war to animal abuse.
So you're not really a reporter from Modern Direct Trends?
No, that part's true. I found that being a journalist for a magazine of fluff pieces puts people at ease. It's just that I also happen to run a blog that publishes a lot of humanitarian pieces.
She smiles sadly at
I
me.
guess it's my best attempt at being a hero.
What sort of illegal things was Mr. Auden doing?
Well, don't quote me on this, but I got a tip that he headed up a series of government-funded experiments conducted on unborn children.
What?
A group of women were asked to volunteer for a sleep study, but the study was just a cover to administer an experimental drug. The effects weren't immediately evident, though. The drugs were meant to genetically alter any children that the women might have. The exact nature of the alteration is unknown, unfortunately. Most of the women suffered miscarriages, probably as a result of the drug.
I open my mouth, but no words come out. I can't even think of anything to say in response. Marissa watches me closely, trying to decipher my reaction. Finally, she continues her story.
A little over 20 years ago, most of these women were in college. struggling to pay for tuition. They were offered a large amount of money for participating in a sleep study, and they leapt at the opportunity. As the years passed, each discovered she was unable to have children. Most couldn't even get pregnant, but several had miscarriages. One gave birth prematurely. The child only lived for 3 days.
And Mr. Auden was behind all of
He was
this?
definitely part of it. As far as I can tell, he was one of the people running the experiment. I don't know who ordered it or what his role was beyond that. Everything I have is circumstantial, though. I've tracked down the surviving women in the study, but unless I can find Mr. Otten with something, I have no real proof.
I take a deep breath. I don't want to believe what Marissa's I don't want to believe that Marissa's right, but if she is surviving woman, what do you mean?
One of them died shortly after the study took place. Complications during birth.
My head is swimming now. It's hard to focus.
Are you all right? You don't look so well.
I'm fine. Marissa touches my shoulder, but I brush her hand aside. It's nothing. I'll be fine. Earlier, you talked about some rumors about Liam. What was that all about?
Ah, those. Well, recently, word's been going around that Liam Otten is involved in dogfighting.
Whoa, that's a felony.
Not to mention extremely cruel.
Well, I'm glad he chose to draw the line somewhere, at least.
I'm fairly certain he was just getting fed up with Liam's antics. It's one thing to dismiss underage drinking, but the heat from Liam's participation in animal cruelty is bad publicity he didn't need. I heard he was planning on cutting Liam from his will completely.
Planning on, so he didn't get around to it yet?
As far as I can tell, no. But you'd really have to ask someone more knowledgeable than I.
I don't have any other questions right now.
I'll talk to you later then.
Can I go downstairs? I see you. It's locked. Guess there's no hope of going in there. Yo, Naoki, come with me. Do you know anything about a sleep study that Mr. Auden ran about 20 years ago?
A sleep study? I do recall one from about 20 years ago, government sponsored. I believe he was working with a partner at the time.
Do you remember who this partner was?
A man named Shen Guan. Both Shen Guan and his wife died a long time ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No need to apologize. It's in the past now. This was all before my time, of course. I'm only telling you what I've overheard.
It's fine. Even a little bit of information helps. Was Mr. Auden planning to cut Liam out of his will?
He was. Liam's actions were very costly in terms of both money and public image. Mr. Otten wanted to punish him for his cavalier attitude. When Liam took up dogfighting a few months ago, that was the last straw. Last week, Mr. Otten informed Liam that he would no longer be inheriting anything.
How did Liam take that?
He was furious, naturally. He called Mr. Otten a selfish and greedy old man, and he said that he'd make him regret his decision. Mr. Otten never got around to doing it. A lawyer was scheduled to visit next week. As it stands, all of Mr. Otten's fortune now belongs to Liam.
How convenient for Liam. Killing someone seems like a good way to get revenge, although I don't think Mr. Auden regrets much now that he's dead. Still, it's definitely something to keep in mind.
Of course.
Yo, Naoki. Come to the basement with me.
Feel free to come talk more if you want.
I don't think there was anything yellow in here. Kevin smirks at me as I enter.
You're an interesting guy, Kansei.
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, you keep some interesting company. I was bored, so I decided to run facial recognition on them. I found quite a few newsreels about them, complete with security camera footage and mugshots. I admit, I literally laughed out loud at the one where they sold ownership shares to the Space Needle.
They did what?
Oh, you didn't know?
This hustle?
Like I said, you keep some interesting company. Weirdly enough, when I looked up their police records, they were completely empty. They haven't been charged with anything.
Nothing at all. I wonder how they managed to get out that Aki's doing, no doubt.
The other girl with you was the real problem, though.
Who? Lee Mei?
I couldn't find a single thing on her. No online profile, no yearbook, no images of her anywhere, and no connection to anything your other friends did.
So maybe she doesn't like social networking and she's homeschooled. What's the big deal?
Dude, seriously? Gotta make a real effort to be that much of a ghost. There's no way that the government isn't involved in trying to cover something up.
You're one of those guys who thinks the moon landing was fake, aren't you?
Oh, come on, it's not like that. Besides, how much do you know about her anyway?
Well, I can't exactly tell him that she has a Kansei that makes her a human sponge for emotions. But beyond that, I really don't know a thing. Aki refused to even speak about it when I asked her. I know enough.
Of course you do. You're the genius detective, after all.
Oh no. Kevin taps a few keys on his keyboard and the two monitors light up with an old newspaper article.
Genius siblings solve another cold case. I gotta admit, you're actually kinda cool.
Why do I have like green hair that?
So, are you on a super secret mission right now or something?
Huh? Oh, what are you talking about?
You know, since you're using a fake name and hanging out with criminals and stuff.
No, it's just Aki's nickname for me.
Well, that's disappointing.
Life's not all secret missions and government conspiracies, you
It
know.
would be cooler if it were.
Do you know anything about Liam's nightlife?
You mean all the drinking and gambling, or extra stupid stuff?
Well, I was thinking about other things.
Oh, the dog fights then.
You knew about it?
Well, yeah. I'm the reason Mr. Otten found out in the first place. He asked me to track Liam's movements on his phone. Guess he didn't trust him. There's a surprise. Anyway, I noticed Liam was spending more and more time in a corner of town that's not really hot on the usual party clubs. Found out that Liam was watching dogfights, and in some cases, funding them himself. Big Will was. When you showed up, I thought he had hired a private investigator to get some proof.
God, that needs to put Otto in.
I guess it's kind of a moot point now. Come by if you want to ask me anything else.
Go talk to Liam May. Oh, wrong room. Sorry. Lee May on this side. I guess I'm only allowed to talk about things that help in your investigation. Alright, Miss Robot. Now, you want to tell me something? No?
Feel free to come talk.
Okay, I guess I go run into Aki now. Up the stairs. I guess Gursky or whatever. Do you really think Mr. Auden was murdered? Detective Gursky sighs and rubs his temple.
I don't know, kid, but I can't just march in and declare it's a murder without any evidence. For all we know, he committed suicide.
Do you think he killed himself?
Hard to say. His reaction when he saw you certainly was unusual. It's not a level of fear you see in most people. He very likely could have done something foolish in response.
So you think it's my fault?
Now, I never said that. There are a lot of things that might drive someone to suicide. But in the end, it's still the decision of the individual.
Yeah, I know. Gursky studies my face carefully before he
Back
speaks.
then, didn't you...
Yeah, I did. But I really don't want to talk about it. Hold on, I'm gonna stop right here. And you continue on to the next part.